This episode is brought to you by HighSpots.com. HighSpots.com is the leading provider of professional wrestling and mixed martial arts merchandise. From wrestling boots to wrestling DVDs, wrestling action figures to title belts, HighSpots.com has the largest selection of wrestling merchandise. Go there right now with our link, tinyurl.com/STS HighSpots. STSHIGHSPOTS. Shop there with that link. It won't cost you any extra, but it will help support this podcast.
Episode 19. It's with my old buddy Maria Starr. Here's a clip. Listen, download.
The website, he was number one of the 50 in 5 years. So he has always been such a great worker, and always shared a lot with younger people and everything that's getting into business. What was the atmosphere like after the match? Did we see some tears and everything, or was Derek just happy to get it over?
Well, I can honestly say when you say that he's always doing things to help people get into business, he had tried to tell me for years when we were just, friends, you're gonna be doing this one day, and I think I said like something like over my dead body, and so he loves to throw that into my face now when I'm like in the ring and I'm coming up with ideas like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. So he loves to just like throw that in my face. But when I say I learned from the best, I had Dustin on one side and Derek on the other side, and both of them, trying to teach me how to be the best manager that I could possibly be. And you could definitely feel that in the locker room. There was a lot of guys very appreciative of all the work that he's done and all the people that he's helped. The crowd was rowdy, and they were there for Derek, because when I went to take him to Slap City, ooh, Lord, I think every woman in that building was ready to beat me up, and thankfully Dustin ended up with that bat, or somebody probably would have used it on me.
Hey, welcome everyone to the episode 84, live from STS Studios in St. Louis, Missouri. This is a special episode today, and I'm kind of excited about this. This is a brand new show on the network, on Wrestling Riot Network. That's right. It's called Probe the Pod, and what we'll do is I'll probably have an episode of this once a month where we'll bring one of the other podcasters on. We'll talk about their podcast, give you guys a couple of snippets of the podcast, and then y'all can go and start listening to that podcast. So it helps them, helps us, helps everyone, and gives you guys a variety of stuff that's coming. So be looking once a month for Probe the Pod. That's right. I want to thank everyone, especially Sean Garmer there, at W2Mnet.com, Locals to Legends Gene Jackson, and Bob McGee over at Pro Wrestling's Between the Sheets. I want to thank our sponsor, CamSoda.com. Guys, go visit CamSoda.com. They are sponsoring this podcast. Guys, y'all can reach me at ComicBookMarkBT. That's over at Twitter, Instagram, at BT Shootin The Shiznit. You can listen to all the archives at STSPod.club. There's a Cool Kids Wrestling and MMA Talk Facebook group. That's where we have discussions. You have to ask to get in that. If we don't like you or you become an asshole, we kick you out. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, Pod Paradise, Spreaker. Also, we have a Shootin The Shiznit Facebook group. It's just Shootin The Shiznit there on Facebook. We actually put all the episodes up there and a note or two, okay? A big shout out to my podcast bros. That's right. Suplex City Limits, Creative Control, Who's Right Podcast. Not a wrestling podcast, but one of my favorite. P3 Radio, with my buddy Max, and Wide Men Can't Jump with Nate over there. All right, guys, let's get to the show. Buddy, Richard Mullikin. Did I get it right? Richard Mullikin.
You get it right.
I can't even say Richard. Richard, you're going to be the first guest on the debut of Probe the pod. I know that sounds kind of vulgar, but I hope
fun.
we're not really doing any probing here on you. I just want to bring some people on that do podcasts. It's going to be, yours is not all wrestling, but what we'll do is it is an interest of mine to listen to other people do podcasts, how they do them, why they do them, what got them started, and so forth. But I want my listeners. We got a good fan base here. I guess there's some fan base or listeners that actually could listen to yours. So what we'll do is we'll have some clips of your shows. We'll talk about them and everything. But first off, let's tell everyone, number one, the name of your podcast, why you guys got it started, and just go over some information about it, how to actually listen to it.
Well, you can listen to our podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. We also offer all of our interviews that we do. We put those on YouTube. The name of our podcast is P3 Radio, and we started it about 22 weeks ago. And it started because after 5 years of retirement from professional wrestling, my wife looks at me every night and I go, I am so bored. I want to be creative in some way. And she goes, well, you're going to have to get a hobby because I can't stand you pacing around and trying to crack jokes with me. So I texted my best friend growing up, and we haven't been able to see each other a lot because we both have kids. And if I could say that I was a carbon copy of anybody, it would be my best friend. So I said, hey, have you ever thought about putting on a podcast? And he said, yeah, all the time. And I said, well, let's do this. And we went through some rough patches there, not with each other, but with equipment. For weeks, it was just us with a splitter and a microphone head jack just talking into it, and the audio quality was terrible. So we went through some ups and downs, but so far, it's basically just been 22 weeks of hanging out with my best friend, talking wrestling, comedy, and everything except for politics.
There we go. I love that, and that's a good thing. We make that rule too on Shootin' The Shiznit. Try to stay. And the Cool Kids MMA and Talk Facebook group there. No politics. We don't want to talk about politics. I do listen to a podcast that's a little political, but they're on the they're not politically correct. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
So that by the way, that's Who's Right podcast. I always plug them at the front. P3 Radio. What the hell? Where did you get P3 Radio? Why did we call it that?
Well, P3 Radio is a breakdown. It's an acronym, basically, or a abbreviation of two things that our grandfathers used to do. My grandfather his nickname was Pop. Everybody called him Pop. My best friend, his grandfather called him, for whatever reason, called him Poncho. That was his nickname for him, Poncho. So we put those two together. We got Pop, Poncho, and the third P is podcast. So you got P3 Radio there.
You could have called it PPP. No. Or just PP. You could actually get. Yeah, no, that wouldn't be very good on your commercials. And you don't. And I noticed something. I actually I've listened to the Brian Christopher episode. We have a small clip for Brian Christopher coming up. I've listened to some part of the spell, but the favorite episode, guys. We're going to play a clip in the second part of this when we're talking. Y'all guys don't just do wrestling, but one of my favorite episodes is episode 16. We'll get to it in a minute. But what made you think, well, we want to do wrestling, but we're going to do a little bit. I mean, you guys almost do an entertainment show, and right. So why not just wrestling, or why we're just going to goof off kind of thing? What made you decide to do both?
Well, I liken it to a radio station. When I was growing up, I listened to everything. I listened to country, rock, jazz, easy listening, heavy metal, alternative. And I said, we sit here and we talk wrestling, and there's sometimes I just get bored, like nothing against wrestling, but I've talked wrestling with you for 3 hours before we started the podcast. Why not make this like what it was when we were kids, when we used to have a little talk boy, and we'd make our little radio programs on this little talk boy, and everything was improv. And it was some of the funniest stuff for 11 and 12-year-olds to be putting out. And I said, why can't we do something like that? I mean, maybe not so much improv, but why can't we just talk about what we like? Why do we have to section off, to entertain, and talk about things that we like to talk about, and hopefully people like to talk about it and listen to it too?
Oh, okay. Well, good deal. I mean, that's with everything like that. You know, I've tried to stick with wrestling and tried to do like I said, the little 30-minute show that it's sort of a supplement. I always tell people that. So what we're going to do first, we're going to go right into, we're going to listen to a clip from Spellbinder, and tell us, for the people that don't know who Spellbinder is, give us kind of a little background of who Spellbinder is there, Richard.
The Spellbinder Del Rios is a 6'3" monster of a man. And I'm 6'3", and I look at this guy, and I'm like, we shouldn't stand next to each other because you look way better than I look in my dreams. So Del Rios was one, if you listen to the interview here in just a second, Del Rios was part of the WWE, WWF at the time, and he was sent to Memphis to be a developmental wrestler. He was sent to Memphis to learn his craft. So in this clip, he's going to talk about his first match in the WWF.
All right, cool deal. Let's listen to the clip, and then we'll be right back to talk to Richard.
Guys, believe it or not, this is the first time anybody is going to hear this because nobody knows this, but my first wrestling match in the history of my life is a tryout on Monday Night Raw at the Manhattan Center on 34th Street.
Wow. Oh, my God.
You know, right, exactly. And I'm thinking, what in the world? Now, here's the thing, though. I knew what I was going to live on. I knew what I knew I was going to be okay because here I am. I'm the Spellbinder. I came up with the character. I came up with the face. I came up with the effects, the magic, the whole suit, the tails and the top hat and all that craziness. I knew that. So I knew, whoa, I'm going to catch the people as soon as I come out. That boom, it would explode. The cane would explode into fireworks and smoke. So I knew the people were like, oh. Then I came up with the mask where I took the stuff out of my mouth. So I do, and then boom, just a la Bret Hart and his sunglasses, I was going to get out of the ring and give it to a kid, which I was already over.
Right.
I got over, you know what I mean? But the bell rang, you know what I mean? The bell rang, and I got to wrestle. My first match was with, believe it or not, Iron Mike Sharp. I don't know if you guys remember him.
I remember Iron Mike Sharp, yeah. Like a notorious OCD guy or something, right?
Right, exactly. And OCD guy, and he was like, he had his own school, and WWF would call him anytime they were in town and use him and whatever students he had. He knew they were looking at me, so he wanted to work with me. Man, thank God that I kept my mouth shut. I let him say whatever he wanted to do. He was the heel, so he wanted to, call the match. And he was letting me do easy stuff. He never asked me, could I do this, could I do that? It was I did magic, boom. We locked up. I pushed him off because I was a big, muscle-bound guy, bang. I gorilla pressed him, which that wasn't easy. He weighed close to 300 pounds, And then I did well, at that time I did like a chicken wing DDT variation or whatever. Right. And boom. And, I got over pretty well. When I got back to the gorilla, JJ, I remember walking back, and he goes, Del, that was good. And I was like, God, Lord, okay, thank God. I remember sitting back going, good God. What I want you to think about is, here I am, basically kind of a mark. I'm coming up with this character. Now I'm coming in the dressing room, and here's Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect, Yokozuna. Wow. I mean, these are, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there going, holy crap. You know what I mean? I mean, this is incredible. Look who's all around me. Lord Alfred Hayes. You know what I mean? Guys like that, man, that I'm watching on TV every Saturday. One of the agents comes to me and he goes, hey, Del. And I said, yes, sir. He says, man, don't go anywhere. Vince wants to talk to you when we're done. And I said, wow. I said, okay. So, Vince came over to me. He goes, hey, brother, you look great. He says, here's the deal. He goes, I'm going to have JJ call you here in the next day or two, and we'll figure something out. You know what I mean? And I said, okay. So JJ calls me, and he goes, Del, your look is great. You look fantastic. You know what I mean? The character is unbelievable. He goes, but we need you to get some more experience. You know what I mean? I mean, they could obviously tell I was green as all get out. You know what I mean? And they said, here's what we can do. We've been working with Jerry Lawler in Memphis, and what we can do is we can put you on the contract, subsidize you, and have you go to Memphis, and live there, learn the business. You would have to leave and go live in Memphis, you know what I mean? So I don't know if you want to leave your job, you want to think about it. And I said, no, I don't want to think about it. Now, honestly, guys, I was making close to $100,000 already as a personal trainer.
Wow, yeah.
And so, I took a hit there, but I thought to myself, no, I think I can, if I can learn the business real good with my character, with all the other stuff, I think I just, so that's how I ended up in Memphis. And I was the first developmental contract ever in the history of WWE.
All right, there was Spellbinder there. A lot of people talked about Spell's gimmick, and I think it's been voted as one of the worst gimmicks or whatever. I absolutely loved it the first time I saw it. And Spell, that's a funny story because Spell stayed in that area, hasn't he, the whole time?
Yeah, he stayed after, and he actually still lives in Memphis. But you said it too. It was been voted one of the worst gimmicks. If you listen to that podcast, I tell him why. There has been way. You mean Mantar was better than Spellbinder? Really? You mean the guy with the goat head? Got it. No. WWE has a very revisionist history, and I know history is written by the winner, but it always irritates me when they always vote down something like that, and they praise other things that they've done. So, I don't know, man. Dell's character to me was really fresh. Now, here's a little teaser. If you want to go back and listen to that interview, he also tells about getting heat with that character with a mainstay from WWE.
All right, so good deal. Good teaser. What episode is that of P3 Radio?
I think it's just P3 Radio, and I think it's listed as interview with Del Rios.
There we go. Yeah. And you don't have an episode number?
I had it up, but when the computer shut down, everything went down with it.
All right, guys. That's what you can do. And on iTunes, it's on iTunes and SoundCloud there. We'll look up P3 Radio. I did a search of, I actually helped Richard get him on iTunes there. And I might have been the first person ever to visit that page, but it's a little funny cartoon looking thing that is your logo. All right, let's see. We're close to the halfway mark. Before we go to commercial, your old buddy Brian Christopher, who has many legendary stories when it comes to backstage. I actually was witness to Brian, and I put this up on the site, but I don't know if I've ever said anything on Shootin The Shiznit about it, but he had a small barbed wire baseball bat that ended up going to his head. It wasn't his bat, but he started a fight backstage. I've never seen a man get hit so hard and just stand there. So that kind of scared me about Brian. But Brian's got tons of stuff. But he's talking about this clip was real fun. I really liked the show with Brian. He gets a bad reputation and really does deserve it sometimes, but this clip is fun because this is when Brian first got into the business. So let's listen to Brian Christopher.
Who came up with the New Kids gimmick?
That's when we were just Brian and Tony. I wasn't even Brian Christopher yet. We were Brian and Tony, the New Kids, and my dad came up because I hated, I hated the New Kids. You know what I mean? If you were cool, you did not like the New Kids because they were not cool. You know what I'm saying? So, but my dad likes to incorporate, things that are trendy and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Run the pop culture wave, kind of.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah, there you go. And so the New Kids on the block were like the hottest thing going, you know what I'm saying? And here me and Tony are young. She was, I think, we were only 16 years old, both of us at the time. We were being New Kids. But he was like, yeah, y'all are going to be the New Kids, Brian and Tony, the New Kids. Get y'all some tights that match and blah, blah. And I was like, oh, my gosh. We got to be the New Kids. And then our theme song back then was that
Hanging Tough.
Hanging Tough. Yeah. Oh, I hated that, man. I hated us being the new kids. But then it wasn't long. See, my dad would write, the storylines and all that. He would do the booking for 6 months, and then Jerry Jarrett would take over and do the booking for 6 months. So we only had to be the new kids for like 6 months. And then when Jerry Jarrett took it over, that's when, if you want to, I'll book you. Back then, we wrestled 6 days a week. Okay? We wrestled 7 times because we'd wrestle twice on Saturday. So you'd go and do Saturday morning TV in Memphis and then get the car and drive to Nashville and wrestle Saturday night in Nashville. So I was wrestling, 6 days a week when Jerry Jarrett took over the book, and we kind of just, Tommy Williams kind of faded off into the background, you know what I'm saying?
All right, now that was Brian Christopher, also known as Brian Lawler. I bet you have some great stories about Brian Christopher we can't even share on the radio or on the podcast here. Have you ever been in a car with Brian where you have to take him somewhere?
2 times.
All right. Well, I feel sorry for you because I know Dustin has a hell of a story that he only shared with me, off the. And I know people are saying, "Why the hell is he saying that?" But Brian Christopher is a character, guys, and that podcast is really fun to listen to. Talking about, here this guy is the son of the king in the area, and when I was doing the website, it was really weird because when you did ratings, I would do the ratings of the show and they were getting just these god awful horrible ratings. But when Brian Christopher was on the screen in the quarter hours, either it was an OWWE match or an current interview with him, he would get good ratings. So it was just really crazy. All right, we're at the halfway mark. Let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Why are you using any other campsite? Cam Soda is the most advanced social cam network on the internet, featuring the hottest girls. For a limited time, every new member will get 50 free tokens on us. That's right. For a limited time, every new member will get 50 free tokens on us. Join now. Go to camsoda.com or follow us on Twitter at CamSodaLive. Now, back to the podcast.
Hey, we want to thank our sponsor there, CamSoda.com, and do CamSoda.com/podcast. That will let you know that all the podcasts that they're sponsoring is actually going directly to their site. Hey, Richard, we just got talked a little bit about Brian. There was a clip there. Any other teasers about what Brian talks about on that episode?
We talk about a lot of stuff. Now, there was a lot of stuff cut out of that interview. I actually have a few road stories I can tell you off the air as well, but there is so much in that, from as far as when he started in the wrestling business, how he got started. There's a great story about him in a mask and Bill Dundee that's really funny. I think it's well worth your time if you want to try to listen to a podcast. Brian, to be honest, he's one of those guys that he was under a shadow of a very legendary father, and I dare say that he might be one of the best workers, second generation of my time. You know what I mean? Because you had your David Flairs, you had your I can't think of any right off the top of my head except for David Flair, but you had those guys, Eric Watts. You had those guys that couldn't get out of their shadow of their father. But Brian, he really made it kind of out on his own. But, honestly, the whole podcast from start to finish, he answers pretty much everything about his wrestling career.
Yeah, Brian was very talented from point one. and he talks about limited training and everything, and he was just a natural and okay, yeah. And when it comes to work rate or whatever you want to talk about, he does wrestle the old Southern style where sometimes, they do very little to get a huge reaction. I've never been in a crowd when Brian Christopher wrestled where the crowd was not into the match or excited to see him. I might have given the match a 1 star or 2 stars or something like that because of what they did. But, I've seen him and Dustin have matches just, and anyone. He could almost work with anybody. and just fun. I know it's a lot of positive about Brian Christopher. You hear a lot of negative, but he's not always friendly backstage, though. Now, let me just say that, not say anything else about that part of it.
Right. I'll say this, though. Brian can get a better reaction than most main events in this area just by trying to throw out a $1 sweaty bandana before his match.
Yeah,
so
and
that's all that can be said.
Right, you're right about that. And you know what?
Yeah.
Those little things that they do is lost art. The thing I don't like about wrestling in the Memphis area is, I've said it before, is it's, some of it, people don't know what they're doing. And it's weird that you got a guy like Brian Christopher who gets the reaction he does because he does know what he's doing and how to get the reaction.
Right.
Now, this is my favorite episode I've listened to. And I just laughed over and over about it. I actually had this song, and this is non-wrestling, guys, but this is really funny. I had this song as a record, a 45 record. That's how old the song is.
Yeah, it's an old song.
And loved the song. Just absolutely loved the song. Thought it was, sad and everything. Man, you guys, good God, I will never be able to hear this song again. We're talking about, go ahead, tell them what song we're talking about.
Well, just like you had the record, when I was a kid, we had a cassette tape of a red Sovine's teddy bear. And one day Josh mentioned that he couldn't talk on the radio at work. And I said, you talk on a radio at work? We have a superstar here, ladies and gentlemen. And he goes, no, on the CB. And I mentioned teddy bear. And we had both listened to the soundtrack, the tape from when we were kids. And I said, did you ever realize that song could be taken in a very bad way? And he goes, what do you mean? And I threw out one line, and it's in our opening, where I said, you better believe I took my turn with little teddy bear. And he just died laughing like I've never heard that before. So we break down that song, that 5-minute song, we break it down and really just point out some very horrible things in it.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 4-minute clip, kind of in the center of all the of the episode. So we're going to listen to this, guys. This is funny. Go to episode 16 to listen to the whole thing. But here we go. Let's listen to this clip.
Because my daddy's dead.
Oh my God!
Good old Red Sovine. Can't. All right.
I'm talking about doom and gloom from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, that answers why he has a CB radio.
Dad had a wreck about a month ago.
They are covering all the bases. He was trying to push me up a hill in the snow.
And fell on his ass and got ran over by
a snowplow.
A guy who looked like you.
I know it don't rhyme, but sometimes tragedy don't rhyme.
Tragedy is what it is. It
He
don't
was
always rhyme.
trying to get home in the blinding snow.
I'm like 3 for 3.
It's just a sad story.
All right. So where's the next step going?
And our home audience, please lock up your gun safes. Put them prescriptions back in the cabinet.
Yeah.
Mom has to work now to make ends meet. And I'm not much help with my 2 crippled feet.
Why are we laughing? Jeez.
She says not to worry, that we'll make it all right. But I hear her crying sometimes late at night. You know, there's one thing I want more than anything else to see.
My daddy.
Jesus. Oh, I know you guys are too busy to bother with me. But, you see, my dad used to take me for rides when he was home. But I guess that's all over now since my daddy's gone. Not one breaker came on the old CB as that little crippled boy talked with me.
As that little crippled boy talked to me.
Crippled boy.
Why would you say that? As Teddy Bear talked to me. How about that?
I tried hard to swallow a lump that just wouldn't stay down. As I thought about my boy back in Greenville town. Dad was going to take Mom and me with him later on this year.
Thank God he didn't, because he couldn't drive for shit.
Well, I remember him saying, someday this old truck will be yours, Teddy Bear.
Yeah, I'm sure a company will have no problem with you signing up the rights to a truck that's yours.
Do you realize the insurance alone on that would be like through the roof?
He really left
just
me
for
with
him
the
to have
burden.
a 9-to-5 job.
What do you mean I can't leave this truck to you that says roadway? This is my truck, damn it.
Keep going.
But I know I'll never get to ride an 18-wheeler again. But this old base will keep me in touch with all my trucker friends. Teddy Bear's going to back on out now and leave you alone, because it's about time for Mom to come home. But you give me a shout when you're passing through, and I'll sure be happy to come back to you. Well, I came back and I said, before you go, 1010, what's your home 20, little CB friend? Well, he gave me his address, and I didn't once hesitate, because this hot load of freight is just going to have to wait.
It just sounds bad. Oh, your mom's not home, you say. Well, what's your home
I gotta
address?
go. My mom's coming home soon.
Yeah, well,
how about that hot load you got there?
I turned that truck around on a dime and headed straight for...
All right. That hot load of freight. Guys, it gets worse. So go listen to it. Gosh, I never will listen to that song and enjoy it. Well, I'll enjoy it but a different way now. Go ahead and tell everyone if you got a website, whatever. And then I want to talk to you because you do take live calls, which I don't ever broadcast live. I used to on the old version. Every once in a while we'd have a live call-in show, but this clip that we give is going to be the last clip, and it's hilarious. When contests go wrong. So, but give everyone your information first.
Well, we can be followed on Twitter at P3 Radio 1, on Pop Poncho, and on YouTube, I think we're P3 Radio. And we try to take live callers. We've probably only had 2. And I want to do a live call-in show so badly, but we film at a time where everybody's either out, asleep, or they just aren't online. And hopefully one day I will be on a talk radio station somewhere taking live calls, but it's one of my favorite things to do, and I love it. I love nothing more than when you have a caller that can't get anything right.
All right, here we go. Let's take a listen to this.
Triple H King of Kings DVD.
The Triple H King of
20
King
years
of
old
Kings DVD.
It's all yours.
Totally unsigned.
Okay.
It's coming right to you. Sheila, thank you for playing with us today. It's been great. You know, it's been fun to have somebody call in and do this trivia with us. And we want to try to get that number out there. P3 Radio is the one that's bringing this all to you. Let's do a little quick plug for the show. If you're happy with your prize, who's bringing you the happiness today?
PG Radio.
Close.
PG3 Radio.
Wait, one more time.
PG3 Radio.
Nope, P3 Radio. But it's totally cool. We'll send you the DVD anyways. There might be some profanities written on it, but no, we got you. Hey, Sheila, thanks again so much for being such a great sport. And we will send this out to you. I'll get it to you by mail, or I'll bring it over to you. Whatever. It's all the same. It's totally yours. We're writing your name on it. Thank you for playing with us.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so that's going to end this podcast of PG3 Radio. You know, because why wouldn't it?
That's got to go in the intro for sure.
Yeah.
All right, PG3 Radio. Absolutely love that. When a contest goes wrong there. Richard, first of all, I want to thank you for joining us today. As always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Me and Richard's been on and off friends, or been friends since I started my website.
On and off?
Was able to see you and your tag team partner, and was high on you guys from the first time I saw you, because you're huge, big monster guys. So I thank you for joining. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. We want to thank our sponsor, camsoda.com/podcast. Yeah, go to camsoda.com/podcast. Join us next week, same bat time, same bat channel, the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. Richard, you gonna be there?